Hello students, so today we'll deal with our next topic in our chapter, the Constitution of India. Today our topic is Preamble and this lecture is for 7th class. So let us start. Preamble. The Constitution of India, like many other democratic constitutions, is preceded by a preamble. Preamble is the introduction to the Constitution. The preamble to our Constitution summarizes its aims and objectives, means the aims and objectives of our Constitution are being summarized in the preamble. The preamble expresses a great deal of meaning in few words. The preamble indicates the nature and ideals of the state and also ultimate source of our Constitution. So our preamble is the ultimate source of our Constitution. Let us read about the preamble. What's written over there in the preamble? We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political justice, liberty, liberty of thought, that's freedom of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, that is the brotherhood, assuring the dignity of individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, the 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. So, Constitution was being signed on 26th November 1949, but it came into force on 26th January 1950. Let us proceed. So, a preamble is divided into two parts. The first part, in first part of the preamble, there are objectives of the state, and in the second part of the preamble, there are ideals of the states. Let us deal with objectives of the state. So, objectives of the state. Let us start. The first objective of the state is sovereign. Sovereign means the preamble declares India a sovereign state. This means that India is free from external control and follows an independent policy. No outside power can interfere in the internal affairs of the country. Second objective, socialist. Socialism in India means an equal and fair distribution of the nation's wealth among all sections of the people in the country. By giving equal opportunity to all, it aims to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor. Secular. The word secular in the preamble implies that India does not have a state or official religion, which means equal treatment of all religions by the state. It does not extend any special favor to any particular religion. The people of India have full freedom to profess, practice, and propagate any religion of their choice. The words socialist and secular were added to the preamble by the 42nd Amendment in the year 1976. Democratic. Next objective. Democracy is defined as government of the people, by the people, and for the people. In India, after every 5 years, general elections are held and the people elect their representatives who form the government. Last objective of the state, republic. A republic is a state where the head of the state is an elected person and he is elected for a definite period of time. The post of president is not hereditary. The head of the state in India is the president, who is elected indirectly for the period of 5 years. With this, our objectives of state is over. Now we'll deal with objectives, or we'll deal with ideals of the state. Ideals of the state or objectives of the Constitution. First one, justice. All the citizens are equal in the eyes of law, irrespective of their caste, gender, race, or religion. The Constitution aims to provide social, economic, and political justice. Next is the liberty, that is the freedom. All the citizens are free to enjoy certain rights, for example, freedom of expression, faith, worship, belief, and thought. Next objective is equality. All the citizens have right to get protection of the law without getting discriminated on the grounds of status, religion, caste, creed, or race. Next objective is fraternity. In our country of vast diversity as India, in a country of vast diversity as India, spirit of unity and brotherhood creates the bonding essential for smooth functioning of the country. So fraternity means brotherhood. Now we'll deal with the fundamental rights and fundamental duties. The fundamental rights are those basic rights which are considered essential for the all-round development of a citizen. There are total 7 fundamental rights provided in our constitution. They are given in part 3rd of our constitution. So let us deal with the first right, that is right to equality. It's given in article number 14 to 18. Every citizen is equal before the law of the country. All the citizens of India, irrespective of their caste, religion, class, or status, shall enjoy equal opportunities in respect of education and employment. No citizens shall, on grounds of race or caste, be denied access to public places like shops, temples, ghats, markets, gardens, and practice of untouchability is abolished, and its practice in any form is forbidden and is punishable by the law. Titles such as Rai Bahadur, etc. should not be conferred by the state. Second right, that is right of freedom. It's given in article number 19 to 22. There are 6 rights in this rights to freedom. Let us deal. Freedom of speech and expression, first one. Second, freedom to assemble peacefully without harms. Freedom to form associations or unions like labor unions. You must have seen truck union. You must have seen bars in our which advocates are having. Freedoms to move freely in any part of India. Freedom to reside or settle down in any part of the country. Freedom to practice any profession or carry on any occupation, trade, or business. So these are the 6 freedoms in our freedom, right to freedom. Third right against exploitation. It's given in article number 23 to 24. The constitution does not allow bonded labor or beggar. Bonded labor means labor without wages. The law protects the children below the 14 years of age from being employed in hazardous jobs that might have an adverse effect on their future growth. Hazardous jobs means like if children are being employed in coal mines and that all, it's strictly prohibited, and child labor is also prohibited. Fourth one, right to freedom of religion. It's given in article number 25 to 28. The constitution guarantees these people of India to profess, to propagate, and practice a religion of their own choice. They have the freedom to manage religious and charitable institutions of their own. Fifth one, culture and educational rights. They are given in article number 29 and 30. The constitution allows every community to preserve their language and culture, because in India there are so many communities. Constitution is allowing them to preserve their own language and culture. Religious or linguistic minorities have the right to establish their own educational institution to preserve and develop their own culture. Sixth right to constitutional remedies, is given in article number 32. This right implies that citizens are entitled to move law courts to safeguard their fundamental rights. If anybody is violating their fundamental rights, they can approach to the court. Both the High Court and Supreme Court can issue writs to protect the fundamental rights of the citizens. This right is also called the heart and soul of Indian Constitution. Last right, seventh one, right to education. Article number 21A, added as a new article by the Constitution in 86th Amendment Act 2002, provides for free and compulsory education for all children between the age of 6 to 14 years. The Right to Education Act came into effect in the whole of India except in the state of Jammu and Kashmir from 1st April 2010. The government requires private institutions to reserve 25% seats for children belonging to economically weaker section. So these fundamental rights are justiciable but unlimited, but they are not unlimited and absolute. There are certain restrictions. These fundamental rights can be suspended in the times of emergency, that is the general emergency. If any war is over there, financial emergency, is it clear? Then now we will deal with our fundamental duties. Fundamental duties. It shall be the duty of every citizen of India to abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and the national anthem, to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India, to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so, to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic and regional or sectional diversities, to renounce practice derogatory to the dignity of women, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture, to protect and improve the natural environment including forests, lakes, rivers and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures, to develop the scientific temper. Now what do you mean by scientific temper? It's a way of life which uses scientific methods, questioning and testing the hypothesis. Is it clear? Then scientific temper, humanism, that's related to humanity, and spirit of inquiry and reform. You should inquire, you should not blindly follow anyone, you should inquire that thing and reform. If you have done something wrong, you can reform yourself. To safeguard public property and to abjure violence. You should have to safeguard the public property that is related to our government, and you should not indulge in any violence against government. To strive forward towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity, so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievements. A parent or guardian should provide opportunities for education to his child or ward between the age of 6 to 14 years. So these are our fundamental duties. If we are having fundamental rights, we should have to follow our duties also. So with this, this chapter is over. In our next video, I will put you the exercise part and the question answers of this chapter. Thank you.